It's been a really long time since I have felt that much amount of joy at a teaser for anything, right? And don't get me wrong, like, I get excited about games pretty damn easily. You know what I'm saying? I'm very excitable when it comes to that. But to see Kingdom Hearts 4 in a Nintendo Direct of all things had me literally beside myself. Like, when I tell you that, like, it was a dream. Like, I cannot express how important that reveal was, right? And anybody that knows Kingdom Hearts, even to a monochrome of an extent that I do, completely understands why it was so serious that we saw that trailer at all, let alone in a Nintendo Direct, right? I'm very excited. There's so many different things that I want to talk about when it comes to Kingdom Hearts 4. Obviously, you know, I wish I would have made more videos a lot sooner, but, you know, just, you know, life stuff happens. But I wanted to really just take the time and really acknowledge the fact that this game, first of all, looks absolutely incredible. It is taking such a massive shift in tone from what we're used to with Kingdom Hearts that I'm excited. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll be honest, I'm a sucker for edgy shit. You know, I love edgy shit. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that we're taking such a dark tone and shift with, you know, going into Quadratum and stuff like that, bringing the concept of darkness to unreality is such a crazy thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is genuinely incredible. Also, if you hear like a lot of pauses or like sniffles here and there, I got over like a cold like last week. I'm still kind of like a little nasally here and there, but I'm a lot better. So sorry if, you know, that's a little annoying. But either way, regardless, there's so many interesting and unique concepts about that it makes me just so excited to see like what are they gonna do with this concept? Like, where are they gonna take these plot points? I'm so curious. And you know, all the interesting theories and stuff like that in regards to Ava, one of the foretellers, being the one to start off the trailer, the one in the cloak or the coat that was telling us about what's going on with Unreality and their presence there, essentially damn near destroying it because they're bringing the concepts of light and darkness. The concepts of like good and evil weren't a thing in Unreality, right? And I think that's a really interesting thing in of itself, but we'll talk more on that later because I could probably get way too into that. But regardless, it's a really interesting concept, and I'm so excited, right? Now, as you've seen from the title and the thumbnail, I have little doubt now more than ever. You could call it copium, that's totally fine. You could consider it crazy, but it doesn't actually seem like Kingdom Hearts 4 is actually all that far off, right? Because here's the thing. You gotta consider, the game was already at least somewhat in development for the last 4 years consistently, right? Even though they were silent about it, they were in development with this game, right? The first time that we saw the trailer back in 2022, it wasn't even a gameplay trailer, it was it was a concept. It was literally just like, hey, like, here's what it might look like. You know, it was an animated situation where they just kind of took models, played around, and, you know, rigged them to how they wanted it to look, right? Or however that works. I'm no game designer. I don't exactly know precisely how 3D modeling works. Maybe somebody could explain it in more in depth, but the long and short of it is that was simply a concept of what the game could look like. Major juxtaposition now, 4 full years later, we are looking at full, actual, genuine gameplay. We are seeing actual gameplay from multiple perspectives, right? Because here's the thing. You could definitely tell, right? I didn't even notice this until Gamers Joy pointed it out, but there is massive differences between the original showcase that was presented in the Nintendo Direct and the, you know, trailer that they uploaded to other pages like PlayStation and you know, the actual Kingdom Hearts page. And the major difference is that not only is the newer version that they uploaded afterwards on their other social pages running at like consistent 60 frames and like higher resolution, but there's like different, they hit the same combo but from different angles, from different areas. That is separate gameplay. Like, that is somebody doing the exact same thing on a different console, right? And that is stark right? Because that in of itself confirms that this really is getting ready. They are getting ready to drop this game on every platform possible, which means that they have made stark progress on each console, on each, playable device, whether it be your PlayStation, your Xbox, your PC, your Switch. They've made considerable progress across the board. And that's incredible, because that means that they've made it very far into development, right? Especially when you look at the fact that, again, we saw the Switch 2 gameplay. The reason it looks the way it does, with lower resolution and a little bit jankier frame rate, is because it's running on a Switch 2. That could only be possible if they got far enough in development to be like, okay, let's look at the Switch 2 version now, right? And that is crazy, right? And that's what's exciting, is because we've seen this game for the first time after 4 years of complete, utter silence. No word on if the game was developing smoothly, and just no semblance of when we might actually see it again. It's scary to live like that, right? Because we've seen this happen so many times with other games. Metroid Prime had to completely restart development in almost silence, and so we didn't see it for damn near 9 years or something, until we finally got Metroid Prime 4, and it probably wasn't even the vision that they had for it originally. And so, to hear back in, I think it was 22 or late 22 or early 23, when we heard Nomura talking to one of the composers. It might have been Yoko Shimomura. It could also have been Utada. I don't know. I can't remember. It was so long ago. But we remember that that one line that people overheard where Nomura said, "Oh yeah, we found something we are creating something that may have changed the course of Kingdom Hearts forever." And we didn't know what that meant, right? And what's scary about that is that, it was early 2022, or no, it was late 2022 when he said that. They were just discovering AI and stuff or just generally across the board, the world was discovering AI and utilizing it more and more and more and more. So it's just we didn't know exactly what that meant. We still, to this day, don't exactly know what that means, right? So it's we were kind of just generally worried for this game, because we didn't know if we were going to see it anytime soon, and we didn't know what the progress would have looked like. You know what I'm saying? So just to see that, generally speaking, it's been progressing smoothly in the development department is phenomenal news in of itself, right? And the fact that it looks as good as it does, it looks very clean combat-wise, the world looks very solid. Obviously, they've got the story, the story is going. You know what I'm saying? They've got that on lock, you know what I'm saying? I'm not too worried about any scripting or anything like that. Obviously, they're extremely limited in what they've been showing us, but based on the trailer that we saw here, I wouldn't be surprised now if we did actually see more Kingdom Hearts at either Tokyo Game Show or Game Awards even. Right? So it's we have a lot to look forward to now in terms of when we could see more of this game, because obviously progression has developed very smoothly, and we could definitely see that within the gameplay aspects in of themselves across both trailers. If they're able to get decent work done on the Switch 2 at this point, yeah, we're looking really, really good for the future, right? And that's the thing, I recently made a post talking about the Square Enix communication issue, in which, a lot of their bigger IPs, their primary IPs, were getting no semblance of communication outside of the primary producer for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Right? He was giving us updates every other week, talking about things are looking smooth, I played through the game 40 times, everybody's having fun with it, side quests are looking great, gameplay's looking phenomenal, it's super familiar, but we're adding major new changes and things like that people are gonna have fun with. We're getting updates every other week, but aside from that team, we got nothing else from anybody else. No Nier, no Dragon Quest, no Kingdom Hearts. We're now at a situation where we not only have a release, we have gameplay and a release window for Final Fantasy VII Revelations, but we also have gameplay, or at least a trailer for Dragon Quest XII, which also restarted development, but the fact that we've seen it and it looks as good as it does means that it's probably not that far off. And we're in a similar situation, finally, with Kingdom Hearts 4, right? We already know that Kingdom Hearts, or rather, Square Enix in general, had kind of a turnaround situation with how they were, how they were cleaning up their output when it came to games. They were getting way more strict when it came to the mobile titles. They were getting way more strict when it came to, other major releases under their name and stuff like that. We're not getting anything else. We're not getting more bullshit like Killer Inn or whatever that game is called, right? We're not getting more stuff like that, or at least not for the foreseeable future. Maybe we will, but not like as often as we were. You know what I'm saying? Like, Square Enix isn't putting their brand on just anything anymore, and they're definitely putting a heavy emphasis on their big three now, which is Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, and Dragon Quest. And the fact that all three of them now have gotten some form of information within the last couple of weeks means phenomenal news, right? Obviously, it's very clear to me that they were waiting on Revelations to get its reveal and announcement first, because that one was very clearly the farthest along in development, primarily because it's a lot of reused assets, right? It literally looks like more Rebirth, which is cool. That's totally fine. Rebirth looks incredible, feels incredible. It's a great game, one of my favorites. I can't wait to get my hands on Revelations, but it's very clearly a lot of reused assets, which is totally fine, right? And, that made it so that, progress was easier. All they really needed to do was flesh out, how they were going to tell the story this time around. And, obviously they had to take a little bit more time with that because, this is the end of the trilogy. This is, the final battle. Like, this is it right here. And, they needed to focus on that and just, general world design and stuff like that. But otherwise, yeah, they got really far along within the release year of Rebirth in of itself. So that just goes to show, like, yeah, they were able to get a lot done, right? So nobody is shocked that we're getting Revelations first, and that's awesome, right? So now we look to Kingdom Hearts, and we're sitting here thinking, okay, well, we're finally seeing some gameplay. We still don't have a release date yet or anything like that, but we do know that it's coming out on all platforms, day and date, everywhere across the board. Phenomenal, but when is that going to be, right? Here's my thing. I wouldn't put it past them to potentially... I could definitely see a potential 2027 holiday or 2028, like, early, maybe, like, spring release window, right? Because here's my thing, right? One of the biggest things about, game development is, seeing... what's done based on little trailers and who's talking and stuff like that. And there's a couple of things, right? One of the primary things that apparently I didn't even notice this, was that, like, the HUD is completely different. And the fact that we're seeing, like, the HUD work and it looks really good, we're seeing actual gameplay, means that they are really far along in progress and development. The fact that we saw the HUD, the fact that we could see the map the way that we can, means that things are coming along, right? That's, like, usually one of the things that they would do later. And the fact that we saw it in this trailer means, yeah, they've done a lot of work, right? But one of the most notable things is James Woods, right? The literal James Woods, the voice actor for Hades, saying after the, release of the trailer, he quote tweeted the trailer on Discussing Film, saying, and I quote, "I might have a little bit of inside knowledge on this. I'm just gonna say it's terrific. Maybe one of the best in the series." He said, "I might," right? But, like, this is Hades we're talking about, right? It's no mystery that, to an extent, they have probably already started voice work. And that's the thing, right? The trailer that we got was in Japanese. We got it subtitled, okay? But the fact that James Woods is saying anything in regards to having any kind of insider knowledge on this means that, yeah, he's probably been in the booth already, right? We don't know to what extent, we don't know how much Hades is going to take a major role in this. We already know that Donald and Goofy went to, the underworld to, utilize Hades to help try to contact Sora, because he's quote-unquote dead now that he's in unreality. But English voice acting is one of the last things to be done when it comes to game development, especially when it comes from, you know, Japanese developers and stuff like that. So the fact that there is any form of potential insider knowledge from James Woods himself being Hades means that they could be in their final, like, major phases of the game, right? And they're probably just doing a lot right now to prep, like, trailers and teasers and things like that, little bits of information that we could potentially see going into the later parts of the year, again, with like Tokyo Game Show or some I keep trying, see, it's funny now that I'm like past Summer Games Fest, now I'm saying Summer Games Fest instead of the Game Awards. That's crazy. But either way, we could possibly be within the end phases. Obviously they're under heavy NDA. We can't actually know who's able to say what, who's allowed to say what, but we have heard like little whispers here and there of, you know, random voice actors saying, oh yeah, I got a role in Kingdom Hearts 4, and then like the tweet was deleted. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've gotten little bits and bobs here and there of, you know, situations like this, and now that this trailer is out and James Woods himself said that, you know, he might have insider knowledge, obviously, why wouldn't he? Right? He either got the call to start working soon or he already has been. One or the other. And that's a phenomenal sign either way. So we could potentially be looking at within the next like couple of months or so. Probably, you know, one of the primary things for these next like couple months would be to push the 1 through 3 collection for Switch 2, because that's like the most newest content that we're gonna have access to, you know, for a while. Right? So they're going to focus all of their attention on that. Obviously, there's going to be still a lot of heavy marketing on Final Fantasy VII Revelations, but, you know, probably a little after those two things have been, you know, given to us a little bit more, I think they'll start getting cozy and start the marketing process for Kingdom Hearts 4, and we could potentially even see an English trailer as early as the Game Awards. I really do believe that. You know what I'm saying? If we see a Japanese trailer, if we see a subtitle trailer within that realm, within like November, December, then that means that, you know, they probably still have a lot of work to do, and we'll probably get it maybe like early to mid, like maybe mid 2028, which I'm totally cool with. But, you know, it's just something to keep in mind, right? So either way, Kingdom Hearts 4 looks amazing. I cannot wait to see what else they have in store. I'm going to be just analyzing this trailer over and over and over again. Obviously, I want to do more Kingdom Hearts related content. This is my favorite franchise of all time, no ifs, ands, or buts, and I do want to make more general content on it. Now that we have this trailer, we could definitely talk more about some thoughts that I have and things like that. Obviously, I'm no like lore demon like Gamers Join or even like HMK and stuff like that. I do understand things to a deeper level. Obviously, I've played Union Cross, Chi, you know, I know Recoded. Like, Recoded is not ball knowledge. I don't know why I said that. Regardless, I think there's a lot we can definitely consider here. So we'll come back to this, but right now I really need to also talk about Xenoblade Genesis, because that is so weird to me, but we're gonna do it. But either way, I've said my piece. I think that's enough out of me. We'll talk more about Kingdom Hearts 4 very soon, so, you know, make sure to subscribe if you really want to, you know, get into the nitty-gritty when we start delving more into Kingdom Hearts related stuff. Or just more Nintendo content in general. Obviously, I want to talk about the Ocarina of Time remake and Xenoblade Genesis, which I'm literally about to do in like 20 seconds. But either way, I'm passing the mic over to you. I want you guys to tell me everything that you're thinking in the comment section below. Do you agree that we could be potentially looking at a situation where we could receive Kingdom Hearts 4 much sooner than we think? We could be looking at a like winter or holiday season for 27, maybe an early winter or maybe like mid-spring or something like that for 28 for the next year, for the following year. And we could be seeing this game pretty soon. Or am I off my rocker? We're not seeing this game anytime soon. That teaser was pretty much nothing. We're probably going to go another like 3 or 4 years before we see anything else. Tell me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I'm always going to be done with you guys. But with that, yes ma'am, it does appear to be Skedaddle o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and do exactly that. I'd like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this here. And with that, I'm Gonzo. Thanks again, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor of taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!